Welcome back to Rebirth, edu.com. I'm your host, Kendrick, aka Oso the Great, back again with the next installment of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So, right now we are at the fifth lesson, and that is the rich invent money. Wow, that's a weird one, right? Well, it sounds weird at first, but I'm going to give you a good example of how they do it. But first, I'm going to explain what it takes to do it, right? But before we get started, as always, got to get this housekeeping in. Hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, hit the bell so you don't miss anything. I'm dropping every single day. Guys, we're going to run through these books. I'm going to put this knowledge in you guys, pour this into y'all. If y'all haven't read these books, I always recommend that you guys pick them up. But don't be lazy about your education, man. You got to take some initiative. And that's part of what's about to happen with this lesson. Okay. So, how do the rich invent money? Well, it takes a couple of things. Okay. One, it takes the financial literacy. Okay. They have to have the financial education in order to make this happen. If they're not smart and they don't understand the numbers, it's going to be really, really difficult to invent money. And then the next thing that you have to have is some balls. Okay? Some big old balls. You got to have the guts to get out there and implement what you know and be creative. Okay? So you got the left side of your brain. That's the analytical part that helps you understand the numbers so you can be smart with what you do and make sure you understand it and really kind of work out the risks involved so that you can mitigate that. And then the right side of your brain, which is the creative, the artistic, the think outside the box part of your brain. You got to put your whole brain to work to make these things happen, right? I'm going to give you an example, okay, that I understand, and I'm going to put it in a nutshell so that you can get it and how it makes sense. But this is one way that can be used to invent money, right? Because they're not printing it out, right? They're not sitting there with a Xerox machine, who uses Xerox anymore? Anyway, they're not sitting there with a copy machine printing out money and then they go spend it. That's not how that works. Okay. What they're doing is they're being creative and using their knowledge. I'm going to give you one example. Wholesaling houses. Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with wholesaling houses or signing contracts, but I'm going to give you the rundown on it right now. So let's say me, right? I'm out and about in the neighborhood and I see a house that is just beat up. It looks like it's abandoned. It's tore up, right? So I do a little bit of research because somebody owns this house. I do a little bit of research. I find out who owns the house. I get in contact with them and I make them an offer for that old beat up house, right? And I offer way below what the value of the house potentially could be if it was fixed up. So I come in real low and I offer a price to them. Okay. I pay a little bit of money down and I get this contract, right? And then when I have this contract, it allows me to essentially hold this house until I can get it sold. And usually it might be 10 days, maybe it's a couple weeks. It all depends on how you work that out. But let's just, for the sake of making it real simple, I find a beat up house. I pay, let's just say I pay $50,000 for the house, right? I give them a little down payment. I get the contract for a little bit of money. Let's say I pay $2,000 down to get this contract. So I got the contract. The contract lasts for 10 days for me to make a decision on this house while I'm doing whatever my due diligence is, right? I got it for 50K. I put 2K down. In those 10 days, what I do is I go find an investor, somebody that wants to purchase homes below market value, fix it up, and then sell it at market value so they can make a profit, okay? I got the contract for 50K, and then I go to my buyer and I tell them, hey, I got this house over here. It'll cost you 60K. And they're like, bet, because it's way under market value. I sign that contract over to them. That $10,000 difference between the $50,000 that I offered and the $60,000 that I'm essentially selling the contract for, I pocket that $10,000, right? That guy fixes up the house, he sells it for 120 or 150 or whatever. Everybody's happy, okay? So we got somebody that had a rundown house. They're happy because they don't have to worry about paying the taxes on that thing or whatever anymore. So they're happy. I'm happy because I just pocketed 10K. My buyer is happy because he just bought a house below market value and flipped it and sold it. So he's happy. The person who purchased the house, they're happy because now they got a place to live in. Win-win for everybody. Everybody wins, right? But in that instance, what happened was I invented money. I created it out of opportunity. I used my knowledge of real estate wholesaling and assigning contracts to create 10,000 out of nowhere in 10 days. Maybe less than that if I can get the contract assigned before that. So by me putting in a little bit of work, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 hours worth of work, I could pocket 10K out of nowhere. I didn't have a product. I didn't sacrifice all my time. I didn't go to work. I didn't pay taxes. I didn't do any of those things. I just used my knowledge and I had some nuts to go out here and act on it. And I made a deal happen, right? So that's a pretty simple example. Hopefully you can follow me on the way I explain it. Hopefully I did a good job of explaining it. If I didn't, leave a comment below and tell me I'm trash. I'm cool with that too. If I did do a good job, hey, well, give me my props, man. Buy me a drink. Look in the description below. Send me a drink over here. I love whiskey, and I could use one, right? Man, it's been a long day. Y'all don't even know. So, but that's the rule, man. That's rule number 5. Lesson number 5. The rich invent money. Okay, you guys will never ever find financial freedom or financial independence without minding your own business, protecting your money, and being creative in the ways that you're going to make money outside of trading your time for money. Okay, you're never going to be rich if you're working for somebody else and making them rich. I'm not telling you don't have a job. I'm not telling you that. But while you are working at your job, you need to be budgeting your money properly. You need to be investing, and then you need to be finding creative ways to increase the capital that comes into your life. So that way you have more money to invest. You have more money to put to work. Remember, those are your employees, man. You got to make money work for you. So the more employees that you get, the more they multiply on themselves. Okay. So if you got any questions, you need some help budgeting, you want me to explain this to you a little bit more in depth, hit me up. I'm available. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. Just like hitting the like button don't cost you a dime. All right. So holla at me and I'll see y'all tomorrow for the next lesson.